Henderson is back in the game. Big moment here. They bring late pressure. It's picked up. Stroud right down the middle. Touchdown. And it is Xavier Johnson. Irish defense gambled with the pressure and lost big time on that play. Begin him again. Off the left side. Williams knocked down at the 3. And the body blow is really beginning to take a toll on this Irish defense. First and goal.
Drive like this in the fourth quarter.
Second and goal. Williams fights to the goal line and crosses it. Ohio State stretches the lead in the final 5 minutes, and Mayan Williams was the man on that possession.
14 play.
Ohio State with the ball at the Irish 22. Harrison and Johnson wide to the right, 3 others wide left. Empty backfield for Kyle McCord. McCord with the ball, sets up at the Notre Dame 30 to pass. McCord looks, shoots it up the left side. Ibuka catches at the 1 and is tackled at the 1-yard line. McCord, 7 seconds left, second and goal. Buckeyes of the Irish 1. McCord in the shotgun, gets the snap. McCord rolling to his right, looking to throw. Fires in the end zone, and it is incomplete for Harrison in the right corner of the end zone with 3 seconds remaining. Harrison was covered over there by Benjamin Morrison, cornerback.
All right, buddy, here we go. Last play.
That would have been a tough catch.
Yeah, it would. But that's what they, the thought was something quick. He had that one pass, so he had to make a decision. It was a one-man route. He wasn't looking for the 2 and 3, trying to get it to Marvin right away, and if he couldn't.
Chip Trainum comes in at tailback, replacing Travion Henderson.
Now we're thinking alike.
Third and goal. Ohio State at the Irish 1 with 3 seconds left. 14-10 Notre Dame leading. McCord in the shotgun. Trainum off his right hip. 2 wide to the right. Snap McCord. Hands to Trainum. Straight in the end zone. Touchdown, Chip Trainum. For the second straight week, the converted linebacker finds the end zone, and that'll win it for Ohio State. As Chip Trainum went over the left guard and plunged his way into the end zone.
We'll catch ourselves a leprechaun using these lucky charms as bait.
Coach, you knew this one wasn't going to be easy, but it came down to the wire. And what can you say about the performance from your quarterback, Kyle McCord, to finish that drive?
Toughness, that's it. Physicality, across the board, finish it off, having guts. I like to know where Lou Holtz is right now. What he said about our team, I cannot believe. This is a tough team right here. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world, and it'll continue to be Ohio against the world. But I'll tell you what, I love those kids, and we got a tough team.
What did they prove to you?
Good afternoon, Buckeyes. This is the Carmen, Ohio Buckeye on Madamus Prime Entertainment. Backup channel Red Von Baron. Also Buckeye Anon on Twitch. And today is a great day. How firm thy friendship, everybody. How firm thy friendship, Ohio. Ohio against the world, baby. And everybody in the country that's not an Ohio State fan is rooting for Notre Dame. And you know what? We're here for it. We live for it. The Ohio State Buckeyes, the Ohio State Buckeyes, are playing in the National Championship tonight, 7:30 in about 3 hours. That's Eastern Standard Time, 7:30. But in about 3 hours, no matter where you're at in the world. So I hope everybody's as excited as I am. It's been quite a journey. We haven't won the national title since 2014. And I think many of us had thought, Urban Meyer would win at least a couple, maybe 3 national titles before he left. And that never happened. But many of our best teams were left out of some playoffs. So this new model really works in our favor. And, I think many big schools feel that way too. So I'm excited about it. Anybody that does see this video, if you could type in the comments your score predictions, what you think is going to happen tonight. If you're a Notre Dame fan, tell us why you think they're going to win. I would love to hear from all of you. I am a small channel. Barely anybody knows about me. So like, share, and subscribe would do wonders for me. But the Ohio State Buckeyes tonight at 7:30. Notre Dame is an interesting matchup, partially because in the 2022 and 2023 seasons, we also played Notre Dame. So we do have some recent data to go by. Each of those years, Ohio State did win, although last year's or 2022's game, 2023's game ended in quite dramatic fashion, as you saw in my video. I actually included a little clip from the ending of that game. And a lot of people make fun of Ryan Day at the end of that Notre Dame game, but me personally, I think that resonates with Ohio State fans because so many fans have been using this goofy little comment against us that we're soft, which is a complete myth. Ohio State plays very tough physical football, and they always have. They've always been a physically tough team, and they always hit harder than anyone else. And if you go back to 2014, we were hitting so hard that Alabama's linebackers were complaining because that's just how we play. Ohio State plays a physical game. And the idea that there's some kind of soft team is just goofy. I mean, that's like the Big 12 or the ACC, the way they play. That's not Big 10 style. You don't survive in the Big 10 playing soft, as they call it. But we're looking at a really awesome season because Will Howard could hit over 4,000 yards today. And even though statistically that's not like tremendous in 16 games, it is great because he's just been a complimentary quarterback this year. He's done what he's needed to, and we've done just enough running that we needed to. So it's been a very it's been a team that is not trying to be selfish, and that's important. Trevion Henderson and also Quinshad Judkins are about 40 yards from hitting 1,000 for the season. So that would be two backs hitting 1,000. That would be amazing. They should be able to get there, both of them, since we do play a multi-back system. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I think they'll both eclipse 1,000 yards for the season. And also, Jeremiah Smith, of course, already over 1,000 yards. He could be looking at getting about 1,300 yards after today or more, depending on how he does. And our second wide receiver is Emeka Egbuka. He has 947 yards. So that means he could also eclipse 1,000 yards for the season. So we could have two backs over 1,000 and two wide receivers. So that I would consider that quite a successful season if that happens. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I think that's very achievable. I don't think that's over the top. Just reviewing what happened against Texas. Texas, first off, had a really good game plan that they schemed against us, and they did frustrate us. Although I will say that a big reason that we did not, score higher against Texas is because we had 9 penalties and 1 interception, and the penalties were pretty much all drive killers. They were really bad timing. They ruined and stalled some drives when we were moving the ball, and that's something that we must clean up today. 9 penalties is absolutely over the top and can ruin a game for you. Luckily, it did not against Texas. Will Howard against Texas threw for 289 yards. He averaged 8.8 yards per pass, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Although statistically not his best game, he did just enough to win and threw some tight windows against their zone defense. Our running game was not great that day, to be honest. We had about 81 yards rushing. So that was not our best day, but statistically, this was a defensive game. Texas has a fantastic defense. They have a great defensive backfield. and they had a brilliant game plan. Luckily, though, our defense made the plays it needed to at the right time, because Texas was 1 yard away from the end zone, and if Texas did not, if Texas would have scored, we could have, went into overtime. So luckily that did not happen. Of course, the brilliant play from Jack Sawyer returned the ball to the end zone in dramatic fashion. It just puts a nice exclamation point on how this season has went. This team has been through so much, and just to see the way that they fought through that adversity, and they faced an opportunity to where they could end up in overtime, and they said, nah, we're not going to overtime. We're going to take this ball away from them. And we took the ball away from them twice to end the game. So 28-14 is how we ended that game against the Texas Longhorns. And again, though, kudos to Texas. They played a brilliant game plan. They're a brilliant team, and Sarkisian is an absolute genius as far as his offensive coordinating. So that makes me feel extra good about tonight. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish are not going to jump out at you statistically. When you look at them, they are a grind team. They're going to grind at us. They're going to try to run the ball and be physical. And they're not looking for big numbers. What they are looking to do is to keep it within a field goal or a touchdown in the fourth quarter, just like they did last year. And if they're at that point, they feel like they can win the game. So what Ohio State are we going to see tonight? Because if they play man coverage on J.J. Smith like they're saying, J.J. Smith could actually end the game early. Notre Dame is not exactly a comeback team. They're not going to throw the ball all over the field, all over the yard, or however you want to say it. Notre Dame is not comfortable in that. So if we could jump out early, we could probably put the game away. I do not think Notre Dame is wanting to allow that, and they've been pretty good about keeping games close. So that's something to keep an eye on. I don't think that they're actually going to use man-to-man coverage on J.J. Smith. Marcus Freeman is not that stupid. So I think that they're going to use some disguised looks, but I think they're going to try and take J.J. Smith away like Texas did, and try and force the ball to our other receivers. But like I said, Emeka Egbuka is the receptions leader in Ohio State history. So forcing the ball to Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate is not a complete bad thing. But I don't even think they're going to be able to shut them down. The last game, J.J. Smith only had one reception for 3 yards. And before people come in and say, well, J.J. Smith didn't do anything in that game, I would tend to disagree, because if they are focusing three players on, three of their defenders on one player, that opens up wide receiving lanes for the other players. And I think it was Uncle Lou. I watch his podcast sometimes. He's a Georgia fan. He said Texas was literally inventing defensive coverages to try and stop J.J. Smith. But if you're that devoted to one player, our other players are going to burn you. Look what Henderson did. And by the way, everybody remembers 85 yards to the heart of the South, Ezekiel Elliott against Alabama in 2014. Well, that was technically 2015, but the 2014 season, we had two plays like that in this game. Two plays. Henderson at the end of half, a 73-yard touchdown on a a running back screen, which the funny story about that screen is that Ryan Day said, hey, we've been practicing these screens all year long and we never used them. So maybe we should stop practicing them. And then, with just a little bit of time left in the half, he's like, heck, why not? Let's just run the screen. Let's see what happens. And boy, did it pay off, because Texas hadn't seen tape of it, really, because we hadn't been throwing screens, and all of a sudden it worked. So whatever it takes, right? Big plays win games. So that was a great play by Henderson. That doesn't count as rushing yards, but it does show his contribution. I do want to give a shout out also to Quinshon Judkins. His statistics don't show up big on in the stat categories, but he had 2 touchdowns, and he got some key first downs that helped us win the game. And I think that's more important than the number of yards you get. When you can convert touchdowns and convert first downs, that's way more important. And so Quinshawn may not jump out of the page at you, but he had a wonderful game doing those things. So I do want to give him a shout out. He deserves it. And Carnell Tate kind of had a coming out party, but unfortunately he didn't catch that touchdown. But he also converted a lot of first downs. And with it being a team effort, tonight what Notre Dame wants to do is to make it ugly, just like Texas did. As long as it's ugly, they feel like they have a chance. If they can keep us from getting the big plays and make us earn yards, they're hopeful that maybe we'll make those same mistakes. Maybe we'll have a holding, or maybe we'll, get a 5-yard penalty false start. That's what Notre Dame's hoping to do to us tonight. But we've faced them twice, in the past few seasons. We know their coaching style pretty well. And even though this is mostly a different team, we will have a great game plan for that. And also, just because Texas was able to bracket J.J. Smith, what makes you think that your defensive backs can handle J.J. Smith? And from what I see, we have a clear size advantage against them. And I think that's on our lines. I think J.J. Smith is a bigger guy than their defensive backs. And I do think that could play a part in like the second half of the game. But as far as whether it's a close game or a blowout, a lot of my fellow Buckeyes are predicting a blowout. The difference is starting fast. We didn't start fast against Texas, although we almost did. I do think that if we didn't have that huge penalty on the second drive, I think we would have driven down the field that time, because we still had the momentum, and momentum's a big thing. I think we can start out fast against Notre Dame, especially before they make their adjustments. So our first 2 drives, if we can score on them a touchdown, we might take them out of their game, because 14-0 is actually more like an all-game grind for Notre Dame. Like I said, they're not really a fast-scoring type team. So, man-to-man, if they do man-to-man, we can take advantage of that. Also, J.J. Smith's a lot faster than he looks. A lot of people look at him like he looks like a blocking wide receiver. And I think the size of him really throws people off. And they're like, okay, he's big, but, we can catch him because he's slow. Not J.J. Smith. He outran the entire Oregon Ducks team on a short pass. And he can do that again for sure. So he's a lot faster than he looks. And our wide receivers are on a different level than Notre Dame's faced all year. Because I was asking another podcast, the Ohio podcast, I was like, well, what wide receivers have they faced that's anything like ours? Because Penn State had the 2-back system like we do, and they have really good backs. But they didn't make a single catch. The wide receivers did not make a single catch against Notre Dame. And, there's no way. Ohio State is not going to be shut down like that. Our wide receivers are too good. And, when I asked them at the Ohio podcast, and I want to ask Notre Dame fans this, what wide receiver core have you faced that's anything like ours? I don't even know that anything like ours exists anyways. But the best answers I could get are Texas A&M and USC. Okay, so USC, if you want to point that as an example, they passed all over Notre Dame, okay? I would be pretty concerned if I was Notre Dame. If USC could do that, and, they don't have the defense we do, I would be very concerned if I was Notre Dame. Because I think our coaching staff is smart enough to see what USC did. So that could change my perception of the game altogether. But we'll see what they try to do. Because I don't think they're actually going to do man-to-man on JJ. They have to bracket him. Marcus Freeman's smarter and Golden's a wonderful defensive coach. But if they do, we only need 1 or 2 of those plays to break loose. And boom, all of a sudden Notre Dame's in a situation where they have to go away from their offense. And Riley Leonard can throw the ball complimentary, but he's not a guy that you just like, let's go in shotgun and pass it all over the field. Like, Riley Leonard's not that kind of guy. So if we put them in that situation, it could wind up being a blowout, like my Buckeye brothers are saying. But me personally, I think it is going to be a lower scoring game. If you look at Vegas's over-under, it's way lower than it's been. I think it's like 44.5 or something like that. I don't know if it's changed. But everybody, including Vegas, is anticipating a lower scoring type game. So if we don't hit those fast breaks, we will have to play, a game where we inch our way down the field, which Will Howard, as a quarterback, has shown the ability to do that with the complements of our running game and the way that we throw the ball and distribute the ball to everyone. I don't think that that's a huge problem for us if we don't hit the big plays. I do think that we can do just enough to put them away. But, the previous two matchups have been pretty tight. We beat Notre Dame 21-10 in 2022. And last year, well, technically 2023, we didn't actually play them in 2024. But in 2023, they were up 14-10, and we scored with 3 seconds remaining to win 17-14. So the data suggests it's going to be a close game. And that really just depends on if we start fast or not. So I think everybody that, is watching this is curious to see, can we start off fast and put this game away early like we did to Tennessee and especially Oregon? Yes, we can. We can do that. We're very capable. So the matchup of Notre Dame's defensive backfield versus our wide receivers is going to be an interesting one. Now, if you go to the other side of the ball, our defense versus their offense, I've never felt more confident in my life. Our defense, especially if you go and look at Tennessee's game, the game against Tennessee, how we played against Nico, I feel very confident that we're going to be just fine against their offense. First off, our defensive line has a size advantage, like I said. Our defensive line is fast and tough, and they've been playing on a different level. Even if you look at 2023, a lot of the same guys were on that defensive line. Our defensive line this year has elevated since the playoffs. So Notre Dame hasn't seen us play at this level before. Our defensive line is a huge advantage in my opinion. Our safeties and our defensive backs are good enough to shut down their wide receivers. Texas had to come up with a wheel route type game plan to do anything against us. They couldn't throw the ball. And those wide receivers are better than anything Notre Dame's got. I'm sorry. Now, don't get me wrong. Faison's a talented guy. But Texas has way better wide receivers than Notre Dame. And we shut them down. So I think that Notre Dame's probably going to see if they can get us with some of those wheel routes and short passes to the running backs. Because I don't see them being successful throwing the ball on our defensive backfield. So it's going to be tough because they have to find a way to get the running game going if they want to get the passing game going. And nobody's been successful against us there. This playoffs, we've given up 2 yards per carry. I mean, give or take a few, point whatever. But we've given up about 2 yards per carry on defense. That is astounding. 2 yards per carry. Teams don't win games at 2 yards per carry. And that's why I feel really good about our defense versus our offense. The only thing that can get us in this game, in my opinion, is turnovers. We have to avoid. Now we usually average 1 turnover a game. Usually Will Howard has 1 goofy pass per game. So I wouldn't be too shocked if that happened again, although I hope not. But we don't want to get more than that 1 goofy pass per game because when we threw 2 interceptions, it was against Michigan, and that was bad. Of course, that was also bad because it was on the other end of the field. And that end of the field means that there's 10 points given up by those 2 plays. But I do like the matchup of our defense versus their offense. I think our offense can move the ball on them. If we get those big plays, that'll change what I'm about to say. But I believe we do have a more sluggish game. I do believe it's a grind out football game. I do think it will be close in the first quarter, and in the second half, and maybe at the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, we'll take over this game. My opinion is it's going to be about a 24-10 game. That's my prediction. I believe we win 24-10. I do not see their offense posing too big of a threat on us. I just think that we make enough plays to keep it to where it's not close enough for them to win. So that's my prediction, 24-10. And I feel pretty confident tonight. I know Notre Dame fans feel confident because the previous 2 seasons, they feel like they were very close and that they're better. But there's another aspect to this. We're better too. All right. Well, guys, that's really all I wanted to say today. But again, comment your opinions. Tell me what you think the final score will be. I don't care if you're a Notre Dame fan or an Ohio State fan or another fan base fan. Tell me what your opinions are, and then we'll compare them to tonight's results. Thank you all for tuning in. Please share my videos with people so more people can tune in. And I like I said, I like interacting with people, so I would love to see the chat start firing up. So if you could tune in, that'd be great. But anyways, everyone have a great day. Enjoy the national championship, whoever you're watching it with. And I just have